Morning everyone, beautiful morning, dobre utro. It is lovely, again a clear sky. Love these mornings. It's so clear that you can't even tell when I move the camera unless I leave a little bit of skyline in. Having a morning cup of coffee. It gets light out here like 3 in the morning, so if you're thinking that it's very light out and we're still sitting around doing nothing, it's because it's still pretty early. Just had a neighbor walk by here, came in and tried to offer his services. He wanted to work for 3 days, which is fine if I could think of some work for him. And he wanted to hand dig my fence posts in. Well, if you're watching from the west and you got any kind of cattle or ranching, then you know we don't dig them in, we push them in, because they're a whole lot stronger that way. If you dig them in, the post remains loose and it's hard to tighten a good fence on that. And so we just push them in the ground. It's very simple. And we've already tried that here on a couple of posts and worked very well, actually. So I'm trying to explain that to him, that no, I don't want to dig them in, I want to push them in. No, you gotta dig them in, or you're gonna snap them. But he wouldn't wait long enough, and I found that it's so anybody that's watching in Russia, if you meet us and we don't speak that good of Russian, it's still easiest with a translate. And if your English isn't very good, you need to wait long enough for the Google Translate to catch up, or we can't have a communication. So this guy was insistent, and he didn't want to use the translator at first. I'm like, well, then I can't have a conversation with you. I have no idea what you're saying. I mean, I understand parts of it, but not all of it. Not good enough to, you know, make a good conversation. So I'm trying to explain to him to use a translator for one, and to just listen for a minute, right? So I don't know what he all wanted. I hope I didn't, you know, hope we didn't cause offense. And he ended up leaving eventually, but I mean, he wouldn't stop long enough to, you know, let me translate what he's saying and for me to translate what I wanted to say to him. Long story short, I think he wanted to hand dig all my fence posts in for 3 days, and I don't have any desire to do that. That to me is a waste of good resources. If a guy wants to help and work, we can put him to better use than to hand dig fence posts. I can push him in with a tractor pretty quick, and it's going to take several hours to dig a fence post hole deep enough to put one of these posts in. So why would I spend good money digging a hole when I can literally take the tractor bucket and just shove them in the ground? There may be the odd post that you have difficulties, but this is nothing. Like back home, we had hard dirt with rocks in it, big rocks, and so you had to dig a big hole sometimes to fish a rock out because they don't all push in. There's no rocks here at all. This is pretty easy pushing. You just got to get through the hard pan, and then away she goes into the clay. Anyway, just one of those little things. Good morning. Thinking again about this guy that came, and sorry if you're watching, but just the wrong approach on things. I would never go to someone and offer 3 days worth of labor and then argue with the guy. Like, if I'm looking for a job, I will submit to whatever the boss wants done, basically. And like, this guy didn't want to look at the translator. He didn't seem to want to listen to what I wanted. He just wanted to work for 3 days the way he wanted to do it. And that obviously is not workable. I mean, if you're going to come work for me, that's fine. I don't mind people working for me. We've had lots of employees over the years, but you got to do it the way I want it done because it's my place, right? So very strange. Another thing that I've noticed, now this is across the board. Us in Canada, we have an ongoing joke. We always laugh about the ignorance of the American cousins to the south, especially when it comes to things, all things Canadian, because they don't seem to have a clue. And that's not all of them. So if you're watching from the States, we love you dearly. But yeah, some of you are a little bit puzzled on what Canada consists of. And it seems like that's here too. So I move here and they think that Russia's the only cold country in the world. You know, you got a frost. Yes, I know. Canada, if you look on the map, if you have a globe, spin it around. If you have a wall map, take a look at it. We live just as far north as you do, pretty well. And our climates are very similar depending on where in Canada you live. The coldest place I ever lived was in Western Canada, where it hit minus 57 one morning. Nizhny Novgorod never hits minus 57, and at least not to my knowledge. Last winter it was milder here than it was back in Canada, in some of the milder areas where we lived, never mind Western Canada. You want to see tough folks, go visit the folks in Western Canada. They deal with all sorts of extremes over there, and we build houses there as well. So what we're doing here is very common in Canadian climate, and yes, it will work in a Russian climate. Why? Because the climate's the same. It's no difference. People shouldn't assume. It's like if you moved to Canada from Russia or from any country, doesn't matter, wherever country you're watching from, if you move to another country and you have a lifetime of experience and expertise behind you, and you move to the new country and everybody treats you like you know nothing, how does that make you feel? Obviously you have skills and talents, and I always try to teach my kids as well that we need to be open-minded. Don't walk around like this thinking that your way is the only way. We can learn from each other. All different countries. People move to Canada, they bring talents, expertise with them, and there's different ways of doing things, and we might be stuck thinking, hey, this is the only way to operate, this is the only way that a job should get done. There might be a better way, right? And then we should be willing to adapt and change to that better way, and not just get fixated and keep doing it the same way over and over and over and over and over. And so I've always been bigger on that, as long as it makes sense. I mean, if what you're telling me doesn't make sense, like this gentleman today to dig a hole with a shovel to put my fence post in, that makes no sense. Time is of the essence. I can push them in faster with a tractor bucket. Why would I bother to dig a hole by hand? But if it was the other way around, if I was digging them by hand and he says, hey, we could push those in with a tractor, I'd be like, oh, I'm up to trying that, and then we can move forward. And so the same thing goes with moving. I've built houses all my life in a cold climate. This is no different here. And so many of you don't understand what we're doing, and that's because here in Russia you build these massive heavy concrete houses that need a lot more structural support than what I'm building here. But this is very normal. All of our footings would be about 8 inches thick with rebar. A lot of people didn't see the rebar go in. I don't know if it's on the video. I think Anneesa said that didn't get in the video. There is rebar in our footings, and there's also a lot of rebar in these walls. There's loads of rebar. But yeah, definitely adequate. And yeah, all I guess I'm trying to say is that just because things are done differently than you're used to doesn't make them wrong. We should all be more open-minded and willing to accept that other people also know things. If this doesn't work, if that's what you're thinking, hey, this will never work, that would mean that 90% of the Canadian homes are falling down. And I can assure you that that is not the case. So often I don't explain enough, but we glue and screw to keep things from squeaking. Nails, over time, when walking across them, the nails will come out. The screws will not. So we glue and screw our floors down. This is glue, and same thing. So this is going to hold the OSB down to these rafters, joists, I guess. Hold them down to these joists and not allow them to move. And that's why we do it. So it'll be glued down, and then we're putting screws in to finish it off to make a nice finished product. Typically I use tongue and groove OSB. They don't, at least not where I looked, did not have OSB in a large sheet. So in Canadian and American terms, we buy a 4x8 sheet, tongue and groove, and put it all together. It's great for flooring. Here they don't have that, at least not where I looked. It may exist. No, I don't need 6 links to different places where it exists because the floor is already done. But that's what we would typically use, and that interlocks the joints together. They meet up here on the joints right here. We've now put blocking everywhere, which I want anyway for stability, but we just made sure our blocking was underneath the joint so that it won't move and wiggle, and each sheet is now tied together to the other sheets. But typically we would have a tongue and a groove. So the groove, and then the tongue slides into that groove. I can't show you that, I guess, maybe here. And they would slide into each other and therefore create a nice lock together. The only way I could buy the tongue and groove OSB in the places that I looked was in a 2x8 sheet, and it was way more money. Actually, it wasn't even full 2. It was smaller than that even. It would have took 2.5 of those sheets to make up one of these, and so the price was just way higher. And I said, well, I'm going to put blocking in anyway. I'll make sure my blocking is right underneath the joint, and we'll save that money as well. I do like saving money whenever I can. The product is still good. Very happy with it. It's a good sturdy OSB and will work great. So today we will raise the walls on here. Just thought I would explain that before I cover this up, that's why we do it. The glue holds everything together, and the screws don't come out like nails. And so sometimes, I'm sure you've had it in your life, sometimes you're visiting somebody and you walk across the floor and it squeaks. The glue and the screws helps prevent that, so you don't end up with a squeaky floor. You never want a brand new house and then you got a squeaky spot in the floor. It'll drive you nuts every time you walk across it.
Doesn't look like much, but this is how we design our homes. Right, Cora?
What do we need for this one? You have more 2x6s? Not super duper long. Check that pile over there, maybe the burn pile. For the information, we had all of this already laid out, but then we changed our house because we moved it, and in the move we also made the house smaller. And so now this part was not drawn out on paper. Хорошо. I won't go any smaller than this. This will be sufficient.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I think so.
This is how we lay stuff out.
Sometimes. Usually I do it in my head, but you need visuals
I need
on
visuals.
some stuff, and I need visuals on other stuff. So my reasoning, you want to be able to slide your chair away from the table, and stand up and get out and have enough room. So that's where I put the edge of the table, and did the same thing on the other side, edge of the table, and then I can measure the distance. And I know the table's not this wide. The table's less wide. This is almost 4 feet wide. Tables are typically 3 feet. So this works. Хорошо. And if you put a bench on, like you've said before, that'll give us even more space.
All right. Yeah.
Done. Let's chalk it.
I'm an expert at overthinking things that I shouldn't. You come across as a cool guy, someone who's the opposite. And all my friends are leaving, but I wanna stay here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a little closer to having a completed home. You see all that work? We got one little chunk left to do over here and a couple of goofball mistakes. I goofed up here and I forgot that I needed this beam here. It's going to be a bearing wall right through here. Back you up, and it needs a beam. And the window is going to be right there. So obviously that isn't going to work. You can't put a beam over a window. Windows aren't very load bearing. So that window stays there. We had to move this one over. So a couple of these studs, that means both of these windows need to move. I'm going to move this one over a bit and then put the other one in here. So they kind of stay symmetrical. Then there will be a bigger gap, but Anneesa figures that's okay. We can get a hutch or something later on to sit against the wall, and then that window will still be there. These ones are all good. I still need to put my headers in. I got to do my jack studs or cripples, whatever you want to call them, in there yet. And this window I'm not too keen on. It's gonna be one. This is gonna be a laundry room here. We wanted a stackable washer and dryer, and she still wants a window. So I'm gonna play with that. I'm gonna see if I can find a smaller window. This is gonna be a 60 centimeter window, and I gotta put the jacks in yet. So the window would start from, you know, maybe over here somewhere. There's still enough room for a bit of trim, but not a lot. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. And then there's some windows in here, and then I goofed up here. There's supposed to be a patio door going in. I don't know if Russians have them or not, but a door going out onto the back deck here. Nice glass door. And there's going to be a sitting area / deck, so when we want to eat outside, we can do it on that side of the house there. So I got the window framed in, and then there was supposed to be a door and apparently another window. I thought it was just a window and a door. So anyway, I may end up moving that because I don't mind the idea of having a window right across from the stairs. So I may end up putting the window here, and then door and window. And I can only go so far over because then we run into this guy. We got this concrete wall there, so we can't go any farther than that. I am limited to how far. But anyway, we'll play with that tomorrow. Front entrance is going to be over here. And I got one more window to put in here. And the boys are just finishing this one up. So we're going to level this one now and secure it. We're just about done for the day today, but pretty good progress. I would like to finish this wall if I have time, and then tomorrow we will build this wall. This is a 2x6 wall running through here along the side of the stairs, and that is a bearing wall. Bearing wall because it carries the upstairs of the house is only this big. Goes from out there to here. This is just a 1-story portion, and that's 2-story. So this has to be a 2x6 wall, and that's also why we put a solid 2x6 wall down here, if you can see that. Sort of. Not really. Right there. To carry that load. And then the 2x4 wall. So I'll build the 2x4 walls first. One wall goes in here. Right there. I made the marks. And that's for the dining room wall. It's going to run through here. And then there's going to be, this will be like an office for the kids to do their homeschool for now. But if we still live here, we do plan on living here a long time. And then when we get old and we can no longer do the stairs, we would turn this into a bedroom, is the plan, on the main floor. And so that goes up to this point there. And then there's the bathroom I'm standing in right now, which runs to about this point. And then there's a very small laundry room here. There'll be countertops all along the one side. Then she'll be able to walk in here with a stackable on the end. We measured that all off, figured it'll work. This will have a tub. We like tubs. Noticed most of the places we've seen so far only have showers, not tubs. But we like tubs. Especially after a long day, it's nice to sit and relax. So we'll have a tub in there. We'll have a toilet in there. We'll have towel storage. And across from it, there'll be a long vanity. So yeah, it should all fit. And then the staircase from here goes up to the upstairs, and then we'll get that part done. Oh, we lost one. He's sleeping on the job, folks. He's done for the day. You got a little bit more in you? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. What about you? You got more in you? Oh yeah. You're not done for the day yet? You could work twice as long, couldn't you? Tough as nails. Can we see some muscles? Whoa.
I can't get out of the water. Can you guys stop?
guess that's one way to cool off. You gonna stay with me where it's safe?
Baby needs. I can't reach out. That's what you do with the drama. You're a city